Alright, I've made you wait long enough. I am 2 minutes late. I apologize deeply, but it is going to be a very busy night on the Mr. Bepic Twitch channel, so I hope you can forgive me because I have had a lot of stuff going on the last couple of days. So, without further ado, welcome to episode 9 of the State of the SEL, which is so crazy. This is the 9th iteration of the State of the SEL. This split doesn't even include however many I did back in the fall, but we're hitting 10 tomorrow, or next week, not tomorrow. I'm not doing another State of the SEL tomorrow. I got work, but we're hitting 10 next week, and we will know our top 4 teams in the SEL spring split, and more than likely who our LAN competitors and or tiebreaker teams are in that State of the SEL. So it's gonna be a little crazy. It's gonna be very crazy. How's everybody doing tonight? See, Chipmunk Man's here playing later tonight. Luigi, Joe's here. SJT. Hope you guys are doing fine. We got some stuff to go over tonight. Oh, Mr. Waffle Boy tuning in from the room on the other side of my wall. Welcome everybody in. As a heads up before the show starts as well, and I know we're already 3 minutes behind, but if you ever see like black dots land on my face or my camera, it's that time of year where the gnats infest my apartment complex and also apartment. So it's just a bunch of helpers, bunch of production assistants helping the stream out tonight. But we got a lot to talk about. Tonight's just the entire night. Because on State of the SEL, we're talking playoffs, obviously, so far, LAN standings, LAN scenarios, a potential 5-way tiebreaker. I skipped talking about the final 8 teams that are left standing in the spring split. And then I'm going to do something I have never done before, live power rank, live predict the final 8 teams and the final 8 matches in the SEL playoffs. And then we're talking Monday Night Lights, because it's a very special episode tonight. We got some Great Lakes representation all night tonight. Ohio Northern, Siena Heights, and Michigan State will be joining us from up north, taking on some of the tippy top of the SEL teams. And there'll just be some show matches to get some inter-regional rivalries started. So I'm very excited about that. That'll be getting started at 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern Time. But for the time being, we're talking SEL, and we're talking playoffs. And we have to go over the series that played out last week. 6 of them. 2 in the upper bracket to find our top 2 winners bracket teams, and then 4 elimination matches on the lower side of the SEL bracket. So, let me see if I can get the series up there. I can. First one I want to talk about is the big one. Potentially a grand finals previewing match in Bruton Parker versus UTK. This was on stream, and every single game, save for game 1, was a 1-goal affair. UTK comes out hot, and this was a great series. I recommend going back and watching the VOD. If you didn't get to catch it live, phenomenal series. And Bruton Parker answers back, and then UTK in a pair of shootouts storm back to take down BPC, who were undefeated up until this point in the playoff bracket. Undefeated through groups, undefeated through the Elite 8, undefeated through the first 2 rounds of playoffs as well. So, credit to UTK. After dropping that last series of the group stage to UNCC, the Game 4 incident, they come back and they beat the team that, like, everyone was putting at the top of the power rankings, but everyone was kind of thinking, maybe they aren't the best team in the league. Maybe it is UTK despite the loss. But you can't put UTK over Bruton Parker until they have that head-to-head win, and they got it on stream. I was so pleased that this series was on stream last week. Like, it's a struggle. Guys, let me tell you, it is a struggle to plan out which matches are going to be on stream every week because of all the reschedules this season. But the fact that it lined up so that BPC and UTK were able to play on stream, wondrous. Thank you so much to the Rocket League gods for giving us that one. And so UTK I think it's no surprise to most that they will be at the top of our power rankings come Wednesday when those are released. But the other series on the top side of the brackets, Kentucky and Cumberland. Now, Kentucky had a relatively easy path through the upper bracket to get into the winners semifinals, and so I was expecting this to be more of a one-sided affair, but as you can see, it went to game 5. Kentucky comes out, wins the first 2 games, and Cumberland has to reverse sweep the Wildcats to claim a spot in the winners finals. And I had Cumberland as the favorites. I thought they were going to win this, but they had to reverse sweep to get through the Wildcats. So I had to put some more respect on Kentucky's name after that kind of result against Cumberland. But credit to the Phoenix for having that kind of comeback potential against a good Kentucky team. And that win for Cumberland has really catapulted them into the conversation of one of the teams that could maybe beat UTK and or Bruton Parker and win the spring split. I think there's a really good chance that that Cumberland makes it close in the winners finals, lower finals, potentially grand finals against whoever they end up facing after UTK this upcoming week. Credit to them. That was a 6-0 Game 5 win and a 5-2 Game 4 win. Cumberland's looking good right now. I think it's not a huge surprise that Cumberland's looking good right now after making that roster change. Super Smurf has filled in phenomenally, and he is one of the best stories of the season. Now that they've clinched their spot on LAN, I'm gonna start going. They were actually 1-0s, Chipmunk. Game 1 and 2. Actually 1-0s. I never know with 1-0s because teams will just input scores as 1-0 sometimes. But it's confirmed those actually were 1-0s. But I can't wait. I'm going to try and sit down with every single LAN team like I did. Those that attended LAN last year will remember on the night before, I sat down and interviewed most of the teams playing the next day. And I'm trying to do that again remotely this time, so I can definitely get all of the teams together. So I can't wait to talk to Cumberland, and especially Super Smurf, who I got to meet at the Bluegrass Boost Battle. Great guy. I can't wait to talk to him about what this semester has looked like so far. And I can't wait to talk to all the teams making it to LAN, which the next series we're talking about had some serious LAN implications. And the first one we're going to chat about did eliminate one of my Alabama teams, like the Alabama team, Alabama Crimson. They were making a run towards potentially grabbing a LAN spot, but they do bow out in the second round of lowers to FAU. It's a tough matchup. And see, there's no way that all of those games were 1-0. Like, that's what I'm saying. You can't trust. You can't trust the way teams input scores. So, I don't know. I don't think these were all 1-0 games. But credit to Bama for getting a game off FAU, who are definitely a threatening team. Despite their loss to Bruton Parker, which is a quality loss, I think FAU is still going to make a run. Which, heads up, about FAU, actually no, I'm not going to do that yet. I want to talk about another series first, then I am going to plug something. UNCC versus South Carolina Garnet. This one kind of went as expected. UNCC is still kind of that sleeper team for me because they can cause upsets. But Garnet's team they should be beating. And it got scrappy. I mean, Garnet comes out, wins game 1. Makes sense. Garnet will do that to teams. But then every game was a multi-goal win for Niner Esports. But talking about UNCC, they will be playing FAU tonight. Not on Monday Night Lights. I wish that had been scheduled before I did the schedule for tonight, but it will be somewhere. Chipmunk, are you going to stream your perspective or anything like that? Because I know you are playing. I know TJ can't stream because he's got scrim, so he's not casting. I can't cast because I'm doing MNL. So I don't know where that's going to be broadcast, if it's going to be broadcast. So UNCC FAU, somewhere. But then the winner of that series may or may not be happening, or may not be playing Kentucky. Wait, I'm an idiot. Chip, ignore what I just said about you streaming your perspective of that. I, for some reason, thought Kentucky was playing in that one, even though I just said it was UNCC and FAU. Because Kentucky is playing the winner of that at 10:30, potentially. Still waiting on confirmation, but that will be the nightcap to the stream tonight on Mr. Bepic channel. So if all teams are willing, that will be a series for top 4 on my channel. And it'll have big tiebreaker implications, especially if UNCC beats FAU. So we'll talk about that more later in the show, but that'll be happening on Monday Night Lights, pending team approval. And so, talking about that, we've got 2 more lower bracket series I want to go over. This one was an interesting one to me because on paper, I figured Buds would be, again, kind of coming out and handling ECU, but they had to reverse sweep as well. We had 2 reverse sweeps out of 6 series in the bracket. Like, that's unheard of. Like, game 5, sure, we have multiple game 5s in 1 week of play, but a third of our series being reverse sweep wins for teams, that's crazy. And it was the same kind of story. Sweaty 1-goal games to start out the series. ECU coming out on top of a 2-1-0 or a 1-0, sorry. And then Buds has to come out here and flex their dominance. 3-2, 5-3, 6-1. Like, what are the odds of that? We get 2 reverse sweeps, and they both have 5-goal wins for the winning team in game 5. That's kind of crazy. A little crazy. And Chip might be streaming it. Okay. You don't have to scrim or anything before that, Chip. I want you to be warm for playing whoever is the winner of that. Although I guess it doesn't matter too much for your LAN hopes, because you guys have gotten pretty close to locking in the 6th seed. Either way, you'd probably be 6 or 7. But hey, up to you, my man. Up to you. And then last series to go over while we're sorting that out. This was a heater. This happened on the Mr. Bepic channel, casted by the legendary DJ TJ and Mr. Bepic. FSU Garnet versus South Carolina. This was legendary. The 6th iteration of FSU versus South Carolina. South Carolina led the all-time record between these two teams. It was 4-1 coming into last Thursday night. And FSU comes out, goes down 2-1 in the series. It was sweaty. They got destroyed in game 1. I was worried. They come back game 2. Game 3 get destroyed again. And then they win game 4 and game 5. Sweat fest. They come out on top. And they eliminate South Carolina. You didn't plan your own series for this, Luigi? Really? Or your own setup for this? I don't know why I said series there. That's interesting. That explains some things. It looks sloppy at times from you guys. But it was still a great series. Great series. So now, the all-time record between these two teams, and it was 14-11 in games, mind you, before this series. So 5 series, South Carolina won them all, except for 1. And it was still 14-11 in games in favor of South Carolina. So now, it's still in favor of South Carolina. It's 16-14 in games, and South Carolina still leads the series 4-2. Which, I know we got a lot of seniors in that group of 6 right there. So I am hoping, I'm very selfishly hoping that South Carolina does end up making LAN somehow, if it happens, and we can get FSU versus South Carolina just one more time. Otherwise, that will be the last matchup between those two rosters. It's so rare that you get 6 series between 2 rosters that stay the same for the most part. I don't think Trix played in a couple of those. But for the most part, it's the cores of the roster. Like, it's so cool that we have that kind of story in the SEL. But that's enough about playoff results. That did eliminate South Carolina. And that brings us to our final 8 teams in the playoff bracket. I'm going to talk about them individually, talk about what's at stake for them, and then we're going to get into LAN standings, because I've actually taken a little longer than I need to. So I'm always behind on the state of the SEL. So let's head on over to the playoff bracket real fast. I gotta actually queue it up. I'm gonna take a sip from my coffee. All right, now. There we go. UTK and Cumberland up at the top. Florida State and Buds, UNCC FAU. Those are the 3 locked-in matches that we've got. UNCC FAU playing tonight. Kentucky versus the winner, probably playing out tonight. And so, those are the 8 teams, plus Bruton Parker in there. I forgot to say Bruton Parker, obviously. Bruton Parker's there. So, those are our final 8. And if you recall the group stage / Elite 8 stage, 7 of those 8 teams finished top 2 in their group. Only team that didn't finish top 8 in their group is actually the only team with a Wikipedia page, UNCC. They finished 3rd in that stacked group 3 with Buds, UTK, and UAH Blue. And they had to go through the lower bracket of the last chance qualifier after dropping a series to Alabama. So credit to UNCC for making it through. King, the only team that finished top 2 that didn't make it into the top 8. So kind of like obvious. I feel like it's obvious why King didn't make it. Hold on, I gotta time out Luigi. Sorry, Luigi. I don't know why the timing out thing has become so popular. You're out for 10 minutes now. My bad. I gotta up the value of that. I don't know why we're using 2,000 Bepic points on timing out people. I had Alabama, the entire Alabama team, time each other out the last time I streamed them. It was awesome. All right, but those are our final 8. King being the only top 2 group stage finisher, not to make the top 8 for obvious reasons with the roster implosion. So let's talk LAN standings. This is kind of a doozy. So let's pull up the point rankings. Gonna credit Real Albedo, as always, for this wonderful bracket and points generator. It's gonna be off center, I apologize for that. And here we are. This is the current state of the SEL standings in terms of LAN. Now, oh no, I haven't updated. Everyone below UNCC is eliminated. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this live because it's my show. I can do whatever I want. I updated a different bracket. There you go. Those teams are all eliminated from LAN contention. Oh man, what happened? Who'd you time out? Timed out. Okay. Matty Ice. No, don't stop watching. Oh, SJT counters. All right, hold on. We're gonna have a detour from the playoff standings because this is too important. Joe, how do you have so many points? Oh my word. He's a menace right now. Sorry, Matt. Joe, bro, timed out. We're gonna have no one chatting. What's up, Great Lakes Esports? How you doing? Checking my messages. I hope this is good news. All right. Got to respond to a message. Sorry. Okay. Sorry. Dealing with scheduling things. It never stops here. It never stops. Okay. Waffle's out. No one's chatting. Man, this is really a counterintuitive. All right. LAN standings. Okay. Kung's being timed out. I really need a Twitch chat panel like right here. I need to get on that for next season of State of the SEL. Oh my word. You guys, and now Shaka's been timed out by Chipmunk Man. And Are we done? Can we calm down for talk about LAN standings, or are we just gonna keep timing each other out until no one's left standing? Okay, Chip's got one more in him. We'll see who he chooses, but I doubt there's anyone left actually to time out. Okay, LAN standings. You gotta hydrate though. It's coffee. Does coffee count? Technically that dehydrates you, but I need coffee. It's gonna be a long night. Alright. Currently, the LAN standings for the SEL LAN happening in Huntsville. Next month, actually, now that it is April 1st. We could say next month. But this is what it looks like currently. And so, look at this tiebreaker, or this tie. 4 ways between UAH Blue, South Carolina, ECU, who are all eliminated, and Bruton Parker. So this 4-way tie right here all kind of hinges on what Bruton Parker does against the winner of Florida State and Buds. So it's going to be a crazy finish to the SEL Spring Split. We'll see if we do get different ties, but as it stands, and I will also do this live, these 6 teams have clinched LAN. You will be seeing them in Huntsville. Whoa, that is bright. Way too bright. Is that? Oh, that's an ugly color. All right, we'll keep the bright green. But those are the 6 teams that you will be seeing guaranteed on LAN. And so that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams are fighting for the final 2 spots. Now, Buds is safe if UNCC or Bruton Parker are eliminated. The only way Buds don't make it is if Bruton Parker and UNCC make a run and surpass them. So, TJ's been timed out as well. What's up, Atomic? How you doing? Sorry, TJ. He said bro before he was timed out. Alright, I hope everyone's channel points have been sufficiently depleted. And we can get on with the show. But this is what the LAN standings look like. So now, let's talk scenarios. Because it is so insane right now what can happen. Like I said, for Buds to clinch, they need either Bruton Parker or UNCC to be eliminated, or they need to make top 4. Because if they make top 4, they'll have eliminated Bruton Parker, and they're safe. Otherwise, they're not safe just yet. So they're waiting on results to pan out, and they control their own destiny. They play FSU, then Bruton Parker, which is a run, and then the winner of UK versus the winner of UNCC FAU. So it's a run for Buds if they want to completely control their own destiny, but they do. Then the only hope for UAH Blue, South Carolina, and ECU is that Bruton Parker gets eliminated and UNCC either gets eliminated by FAU or Kentucky. Either one can happen. If they get eliminated by Kentucky, then there's a crazy tie that is going to happen, which if you are looking ahead on the left side of the screen, you'll know what I'm talking about. So it's fairly simple, the scenarios for LAN. UH Blue, USC, and ECU need tiebreakers to get in. Buds needs either Bruton Parker or UNCC to get eliminated or a top 4 finish. Bruton Parker needs to win 1 series. That's it. They need to win their top 6 matchup against either Florida State or Buds, and they are in. And UNCC needs several wins. They need to beat FAU, beat Kentucky, which let's see what happens. They beat FAU, they beat Kentucky. Where will that put them? 26 points. That'll put them above Buds. So they're not completely safe, because then you got Bruton Parker versus Buds, and if Bruton Parker wins, they will be tied for a LAN spot. But if Buds wins, then UNCC's in. But if Bruton Parker wins, then we will have a Bruton Parker versus UNCC match for LAN. Straight up. It will be played, the winner goes to LAN, the loser is eliminated. Which is honestly kind of hype. Like, if that happens, very hype. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Those are the LAN scenarios. Those are the LAN scenarios. That's it. That's what needs to happen for all of those teams to make LAN. And so, really quickly, if you will turn your attention to a picture I would like to enlarge real fast. It's the picture that is up in the top left of the screen. And I'm going to zoom in, because this is one of my favorite images from last year's LAN, at Colt. Right there in the middle, in the lovely Gaming Oasis pullover. His face is exactly how I look when I see that there's the potential for a 5-way LAN. Sorry, no, that's what Fred looks like. I look very excited with the potential of a 5-minute LAN. 5-way tie for LAN. Ooh, I skip words. I skip words when I talk too much. So here's what has to happen for that 5-way tie. I'm very excited about this because it's actually feasible. So, let's go back to our bracket. And as you can see, we already have 3 eliminated teams sitting at 22 points. We have Bruton Parker at 22 as well, so obviously they have to lose since they're still in it. So, for the sake of argument, we'll say Florida State beats Buds. So, they have to beat Bruton Parker. Simple as that. Bruton Parker has to lose. That's bullet point 1. The second bullet point, UNCC has to win. They need 4 more points to get to 22 to make it a 5-way tie. So, they beat FAU tonight. But they have to lose to Kentucky tonight in order for them to stay at 22 points. And that's it. That's our 5-way tie. UAH Blue, South Carolina, East Carolina, UNCC, and Bruton Parker would be in a 5-way tie for LAN. And to quote Fred directly here, I honestly didn't think something like this would happen. I told him about it. We were in a call the other day, and I was like, Fred, have you been keeping up with what could happen with the potential 5-way tie? And he was like, honestly, I did not plan for this. So it's something we had a meeting about. And this is an official ruling. If there is any kind of tie for a LAN spot, then those teams will play head-to-head. If there's a 2-way tie, it's a best of 5 to make LAN. There's a 4-way tie. It's a round robin of best of 5s to make LAN, which will be played out at some point, probably throughout a week, or if all teams are willing, on a Wednesday or a Monday. And same with a 5-way tie. It would be a 5-team round robin, which would absolutely be mental. Chip, if it's a 2-team head-to-head, it might be best of 7. I don't think we decided on that. I can't remember. So that's just me remembering. We might have decided on that. But if it's a 5-way tie, I'm not making teams play 4 best of 7s. I don't know. I would advise against that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. But the 5-way tie is actually feasible. Is the craziest thing. I think the biggest thing, or the biggest result, would be UNCC beating FAU. But FAU's clinched LAN, and I could see UNCC beating an FAU that's already clinched LAN. If Hammy doesn't care, like, FAU's already shown that they will not play series that don't matter. And so, with those 2 FFs in the Elite 8, which was just for seeding in mind, they FF'd those just for seeding. Now that they've clinched LAN, I don't know if they'll have their everything being put into this. But then, more than likely, FSU, if they do beat Buds, FSU is going to have to beat Bruton Parker, a team they've already lost to, and so did Buds. Buds already lost to Bruton Parker. Like, they have to pull the upsets. 2 upsets have to happen, but those are feasible upsets. We'll see. But that is the 5-way tie. And we are just over the halfway point of the State of the SEL Live. So let's do some live power rankings. This is something I whipped up at like right before we went live. So it may not work. We're gonna see. I'm gonna slide over here because I have some power rankings to put on the screen. Oh, some power rankings to put on the screen. And actually, I'm gonna change the position of this because it's kind of annoying. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna disappear behind the power rankings and then reappear. All right. So these are my personal power rankings. The official list will release on Wednesday. We're just doing the top 8. The final teams left, we're going to power rank them and then post that with a little bit of a twist on Wednesday at the Esports SEL Twitter account. So make sure you stay tuned for that on Twitter. But talking my power rankings, I'm doing the top 16 just for funsies because I had an extra like 20 minutes I had to kill before Monday Night Lights starts. So I figure live power rankings, live predictions. So it's a little unveiling. So here we go. Number 16 for me. I'm doing this live in Photoshop, by the way, which is why I'm looking over to the screen while I unhide things. So we'll see if this even works. Okay. Oh, live updates. Beautiful. Okay. Number 16. This is going to be a controversial opinion, but I think Florida is top 16. That loss to ECU, I think, was in large part due to Larry's internet issues, which we heard a lot about. I think they should have beaten them. ECU still a very good team. I think it would have been close, like a Game 5 type of series, but I think Florida is a top 16 team. But they did lose on the top side of the bracket, so you can come at me for this prediction if you like. Not prediction. This idea. Number 15, Arkansas. Arkansas. So Arkansas, they've shown flashes of brilliance. They really have. I just don't think they can cut it with the rest of like the top 12. I think they're kind of a top 12 bubble team. And so they had a good end of the season. They were eliminated. They went 0-2 in playoffs, but they lost to UTK and they lost to Buds. So those are decent losses. But I still think Arkansas is at number 15 because number 14 is another team that finished with a really good end of the season in Montevallo. They were looking so hot. Took a game off of Florida State. They made the lower bracket run after placing 6th in their group. And they took Alabama to Game 5, who I think is a solid team. So I think Montevallo could have very easily finished 9th through 12th. And maybe taking a game off of FAU in that next round as well. I rate Montevallo when they're actually playing the game. When they're grinding the game, they're a team that you should look out for. Then number 13, a team that had a rough end of the season. South Carolina Garnet. I rate this team highly when they're playing their A games, but they couldn't beat Kentucky. They had a tough series against King playing with Echo. And then they get dropped by UNCC. I don't think those are necessarily awful losses. Losing to Kentucky does drop them a couple of spots for me. Because Kentucky handled them fairly well. But they did get the Game 5 win over King, which is solid for them. Which is why I've got them at 13. Then number 12. Another team I rate well, but I am always talking about their inconsistencies. In Alabama, they're a team that can hang with the top 8 on their good days. The problem is their good days are mixed very evenly with their bad days. And so that's why I've got them at 12. Oh, Chip just subscribed. Thank you, Chip, so much. I appreciate that, using the Prime on me. And everyone's kind of pouring back in. Welcome back, everybody. I guess it's been 10 minutes. Nice to see you all in chat again. Just in time to ream my power rankings, as always. But moving on, number 11. I do want to do some playoff predictions live on stream as well. Number 11, East Carolina, a team that finished the season on a strong note outside of the 3-0 sweep by Kentucky. The 3-0 of King, with the circumstances at hand, you play who you play. And then they almost beat Buds. They got reverse swept by Buds, so I'm not going to have them really close to the top 8. But East Carolina surprised a lot of people, I think, at the end of the season. After having an underwhelming group stage, they, like Montevallo, really turned it on for the LCQ and for playoffs. So I think ECU is going to be dangerous. I don't know how many seniors they've got, but I think they'll be dangerous over the summer and into Season 5. But next up, number 10, starting off the top 10, my boys in UAH Blue, heartbreaking end. Like, it's tough. It's tough that the odds are not in their favor to make LAN. I love my boy B. Moore. And Josh and Cozen are cool too. But UAH Blue, it's a team that couldn't get over the top 8 hump. They lost to pretty much all top 8 teams. The losses being UNCC, UTK, Buds, South Carolina, and Bruton Parker. All teams that I think should be in the top 8. And so, that being said, my number 9 is South Carolina. They are right there on the cusp. Like, it's very difficult for me. And I think the only reason that I have them at number 9 is because they didn't make top 8 of playoffs. And they had an awful run. FAU, UAH Blue, and Florida State is a run. And I did sort this power rankings list. Top 8 of playoffs. Next 8, in my opinion. I opened it up for the bottom 8. So, South Carolina, I think one could argue, could be in the top 8. I honestly think they're probably there. I think in a head-to-head against like UNCC or maybe even Buds, depending on the day Buds is having, I think South Carolina could win. And so, that being said, UNC Charlotte is my number 8. There you go. I think they're the bottom of the top 8 right now. Dropping a game against Garnet. They beat Buds on the top side of the bracket. And so I think it's a toss-up for me between Buds and UNCC. And honestly, this isn't my like official list. This is just what I put together beforehand. I honestly might have them above Buds right now because Buds is going through a lot of roster turmoil. And they have the head-to-head. So I may be calling myself an idiot. And this is how power rankings go with me. Like, I go through my list, go over it again, and go over it again. And always change a couple of things. So let me know what you guys think. Do you have UNCC over Buds? I would like to know what the experts of the SEL think with regards to that. I'm not entirely sure. So, moving on. Number 7. I think it's going to be kind of obvious based on what I was just talking about. It's Buds. There you go. I think I just kind of explained it fairly well. I think Buds, with the roster issues right now, are outside the top 6. And so, number 6 for me is Kentucky. Getting reversed swept by Cumberland is tough. But that's still a great result for them. I just don't know if I could put them in the top 5 right now. The roster is looking good. And they can prove to me tonight that they are absolutely top 5 by getting top 4 in the spring split, beating either UNCC or FAU. But I still have them on the outside looking in of the top 5. And I think the team gatekeeping them, which sets up perfectly, potentially for tonight's matchup, is FAU. In a head-to-head, I think it's close, but I think FAU is still a team that can win against most teams in the SEL. With the Hammy Crackers factor, Mitra and Lil Stan, solid supporting cast to the Hammy Crackers show. And if they're playing well, FAU is right there. They're a top 5 team in my opinion. And I assume they're playing well because they usually show up for playoffs. Number 4, FSU. That loss to Cumberland and a Game 5 against South Carolina That bumps them a couple of spots for me. So I've got them at number 4, but they can easily jump back up. With a win over Buds, a win over BPC gets them probably tied for top 2 in my book, with Cumberland. Or sorry, not top 2, tied for 2nd in my book. Because my number 3, obviously, is Cumberland. Set up in the winners finals. They got the win over Florida State. Quality win. Win over Kentucky. Quality win. They beat Alabama 3-0. Fairly convincing. And now they got the toughest test in UTK. Like, UTK are the top dogs right now. And Cumberland gets to play them in the winners finals, which is going to be an extremely exciting matchup. But they are still behind my number 2 in Burton Parker. Like, most people, I mean, you can't really argue against this. 12-0 through their first 12 series. Only losing to UTK, who I have as the best team in the SEL, except for one Big Wade, the hyper carry himself. I got him at number 1 on my power rankings list. It's no question. If you try and contest me on this, I will ban you from the SEL server. I mean, look at how many points he's got in terms of LAN standings. Come on. You can't argue with that. Big Wade is the number 1 overall in my power rankings, and that will be reflected in the official list on Wednesday. So, that's all I'm saying. And if you're wondering where King is, Big Wade is King. So, that's where they are right now. And those are my power rankings. Shout out to our graphic designer, John, for making this absolutely incredible power rankings graphic. And he makes it so easy to use in Photoshop as well. If you know what you're doing a little bit in Photoshop, you can use it. John is awesome. And I don't think he watches my stuff, but I love you, John. You make fantastic graphics. And so, with those power rankings in mind, how about we do some live playoff predictions? This is a live cursing of teams. So, like, I'm going to do my genuine predictions here. So, if you don't want to be cursed, you're probably going to get cursed. Because that's just how it works. We'll see what happens with my predictions. If I do go 8 for 8, which I honestly think I could. There are 8 series left in the spring split playoffs. And I'm going to try and predict them all. I've never done a live one of these. It's always been canned on State of the SEL. And I haven't really been able to do predictions because we've had Tuesday matches leading into Wednesday matches. So it's been tough for me to actually output predictions. So, we're doing it live. Here we go. Let me pop the bracket up on screen. Boom. All right. First up, because Luigi is running his mouth in chat, reminding me that they're so bad. I don't think you are. You've already got the head-to-head win over Buds. I think it's a 3-1. Florida State beats Buds. They get the rematch with Bruton Parker as well. Keep the lower bracket win streak going. Then, this matchup happening tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. Wait, is that accurate? No, 9:30 Eastern Time. 8:30 Central. UNCC versus FAU. I think it's a 3-2. I think UNCC forces Game 5 against FAU, but Florida Atlantic comes out on top. So that would mean our top 6, UTK and Cumberland on the top side. Bruton Parker, Florida State, Kentucky, FAU. And FAU, I think with that win over UNCC in hand, I think they play out this series. I think they beat Kentucky. It's the match we wanted in the Elite 8 that we didn't get. Okay, Kentucky versus FAU UNCC at 10:30 is 99.9% confirmed. All right, there you go. Better watch Monday Night Lights all of tonight. And then Bruton Parker, Florida State. It's a rematch. Bruton Parker's already got the 3-1 win. And so, I think with that in mind, I think Florida State learns from their mistakes. against Bruton Parker. And they take it to Game 5, but they lose there. I think Bruton Parker moves on to top 4. They clinch LAN. And they are our 8th team to make LAN. So, Bruton Parker versus Florida Atlantic. This is an exciting series for me. Because it went to Game 5 during groups. It went to Game 4 up here. And I think it's going to be a 3-0 this time. I think Florida Atlantic, with LAN in hand, is going to get beat up by Bruton Parker. Because BPC has their sights set on the grand finals here. They didn't come to just make LAN. They came to catapult up to the top of the LAN standings. Get a good seed. So, UTK versus Cumberland. Sorry, boys. 3-1. UTK. They're looking unstoppable right now. I think the only thing that could get them is another Game 4 incident. Those open nets, man. I think that's the only thing that takes down UTK. I don't think it happens in the winners finals. Cumberland, Bruton Parker. I think Bruton Parker, dead set on making it to... Dead set on making it to the top of the LAN table. I was trying to think about what I said there for a second. I think they take Cumberland to 4 games, but get beat 3-1. I think it's their second loss of the season. I think they're out in 3rd place. And then I'm gonna have to... Oh, I show this on stream. Oh wait, give me a second because it's on the edge. There we go. All right. All right. I think Cumberland takes down Bruton Parker. And I think in the UTK versus Cumberland rematch, UTK takes care of business. I think it's a 4-2. I think Cumberland takes a couple of games, but I think UTK wins. So there you go. That's what's going to happen. You got Florida State over Buds, FAU over UNCC. FAU keeps the run going over Kentucky. Bruton Parker beats Florida State. Bruton Parker beats FAU but loses to Cumberland. And UTK and Cumberland are in the grand finals. I'll drink to my 8 for 8 predictions. Cheers, everybody. Skyline, I got Super Smurf calling me disrespectful every time I post a LAN scenario bracket when I don't have Cumberland winning. And then I got you saying I'm trying to curse you guys. Wait, you guys gotta pick. Am I disrespectful for not picking you guys, or am I cursing you for picking you? I gotta know. And so I didn't even mention this. If you're following along, you know who makes LAN in those predictions. Hold on a second. Okay, there we go. Whoa. Okay, there we go. This is who makes LAN. The 6 we already talked about. Bruton Parker and Buds. And by the way, if there is a tiebreaker needed for seeding purposes, we're going based on the best spring split performance. So, this is what happens with Bruton Parker and Kentucky tied for 6th. Bruton Parker would get the 6th seed because they placed 3rd and Kentucky placed top 6. So, just a heads up about that. But that is who would make LAN with my predictions. So, we'll see what happens. I mean, with me not predicting the 5-way tie, does that mean the 5-way tie is going to happen? That is the question I have for all of you. Bruton Parker not making LAN is crazy. I've got Bruton Parker making LAN. Do you think they won't, Shady? Is that what you mean by that? Drink more water. Okay. Can't argue with 250 Bepic points. But honestly, I think UTK is allergic to the curse. But that does bring us to the end of the show. The state of the SEL show, that is. Because we have Monday Night Lights to get through tonight. Hold on a second, I'm stalling for time. Oh dear. Alright, well, we're going to see how this looks. Not good. Does not look good. Hold on. I'm doing on-the-fly production stuff. Give me a sec. Trying to put the graphic up. Alright, whatever. Good enough. Monday Night Lights is coming up. Starting at 8 minutes. We have a banger of a night coming up. We have Great Lakes CRL coming down south. Being streamed on the Mr. Bepic channel straight from Auburn, Alabama. And they're playing SEL teams tonight. Cumberland versus Michigan State to start us off at 6:30 Eastern Time, 5:30 Central. Then the Bruton Parker Barons taking on Siena Heights, a matchup of top 25 colleague teams. Then Florida State versus Ohio Northern, and UTK versus a returning Michigan State to cap off the night. This genuinely is going to be an awesome night. I've got some Great Lakes casters joining me in Bub and Zen Zero. TJ's gonna hop in the booth as well. I'll be hosting the first 2 series, not casting, which is going to be a first for Monday Night Lights, actually. But I'm kind of excited about that. So I've got to go get everybody set up. But Monday Night Lights, featuring the SEL versus Great Lakes CRL, should be coming up in about 5 minutes' time. So please stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. I do have to be right back in the meantime, however. Get everything set up on the other side of this break. I will see you guys for Monday Night Lights. Thanks for watching State of the SEL. Stay tuned for more MNL. See you in a bit.